Good evening and welcome. You're tuned in to the best in paranormal programming. This is the Paranormal 60 News Great Moon Hoax Edition. Hello, my little darklings, and welcome to another edition of the Paranormal 60 News. Let me remind you, this weekend is a big one. Gettysburg Battlefield Bash is taking place. That's August 19th through the 21st. I will be in Gettysburg. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be there until the 22nd. I'll be watching the premiere of my brand new show that begins airing on August 21st while I'm right there stationed in Gettysburg. Ghosts of Devil's Perch. You've been waiting for it. I've been waiting for it. It's finally coming out. Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. Brand new series premiering August 21st, and then will run for 8 consecutive weeks on Travel and Discovery Plus. I hope you'll tune in and check it out. That would mean a lot to me. And I will remind you that starting next week, I will also be doing a live show on Tuesday night where we'll be reviewing what took place in episode 1 of the Ghosts of Devil's Perch and giving you a little peek at what you can expect in episode 2 of Ghosts of Devil's Perch. I'll do that every week until the series folds up, and we are going to have special guests joining. Next Tuesday, I will have historian Chris Fisk joining me. He is from Butte. He is a high school teacher, the town historian, the ghost tour specialist. So he's going to be on hand with us next Tuesday to talk about the first episode, and it'll be live, so we'll be taking your questions. I want to make sure that you're a part of the show. I'll have my regular show on Monday night, Tuesday night another live show, and then the following Friday we've got Supernatural News with the boys again, and it is time to introduce the boys. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a while because this guy has got more personal time built up than anybody else I know, even though we've all started basically at the same time. He is the one, the only, the paranormal detective, Greg Lawson. Greg, it's good to have you back. I guess some of the people take this as a full-time gig. You just kind of, I don't even want a part-time. Is that a right term for this?
Dave, I want you to know I value our time together. And, I just have, I have these yearnings,
You've got to spread your wings. I know you've been to Alaska. You've been to Seattle. You've been all over.
I've been all over.
You're going to be in Michigan Paracon next week. I'm going to be at the Michigan Paracon next week. This handsome fella is going to be at the Michigan Paracon next week. Colonel, good to have you back, sir.
Yeah, great to be here. Look forward to Michigan Paragon.
Mm-hmm. We're going to have a good time out there. I have also got another friend of ours who's going to be there. Chachi is going to be on hand as we all go to Michigan Paracon. You're going to be out there this year, right, Chach?
I am going to be there. I will not have Joni with me, but I will be there alone.
Nice. But I will tell you, folks, if you see Chachi walking about with an empty hand, get him a Dragon's Milk beer. They're his favorites.
No. Oh, God, no.
He loves them.
The Game of Thrones begins when we're there. Just start loading him up with Dragon's Milk.
I hold Jeff Belanger 110% responsible for that.
You should.
Give Jeff Belanger 2 Dragon's Milk.
Oh, good God. I don't think he could make it through one, that little guy. We're going to have a good time. I'm still working with the guys there to see if there's some night we can pull people aside and maybe have a little bourbon tasting and kind of meet and greet with the news crew, just as an unofficial, fun little gig. So if you're going to be out there, just keep talking to us about it and we'll see if we can't get something to happen. We got a lot to cover tonight, plus a brand new ParaTunes. So let's get started, shall we? I believe, Chachi, you're up first. And boy, for anybody who thinks they've had a bad week this week, you come out swinging with a story that'll just kind of put everybody back in their place for just how bad their week they thought it was Thank God they're not this guy, right?
I think about all the things I've done, and this has never even come close to happening to me, as far as I'm aware. And what I
Until
love
Michigan
about
Paracon.
it, until this year it may
As
happen.
far as I'm aware.
Oh,
What I
wait till
love
you hear
about
what's
this is-
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this has been in a lot of different places, but the place I found it was a website called Best Life Online. So just remember that this was on their Best Life.
First of all, before you get started, though, I would like to point out that I'm digging the background. I'm getting a Ron Burgundy feel that you have a library with many books and some that smell of leather. What is this fancy backdrop you got going?
Do you like that?
I
Oh
do.
yeah.
This is a backdrop of all of my paranormal books.
That's
Every one of these. I bet there's even a Greg Lawson and a Dave Schrader in here.
Get out of
Oh,
here.
there's some
I will
idiots. Whatever.
You see that? That's where I started right there. Yeah.
The
Idiot's Guide.
Otherwise known as the county library.
That's right. In the county library. I like it.
Lots of Hans Holzer from your
Excellent.
last series.
Yeah.
I do not have a
Wow.
Ghost of Devil's Perch book yet.
Well, there is none. So if you did, I'd call you a time
Oh,
traveler
yeah.
and want to know what you've been up to. Let's get to this story. Where are we going
All
to
right,
go?
here we
Josh?
go. Man wakes up in coffin and says he was offered as a human sacrifice against his will. I love how the story starts because I can totally
Yeah.
resonate. Humans are fallible
Resume.
and much
Mhm.
fallible.
Yeah.
And much of the human experience is universal, which means that many of us continue to make the same mistakes as generations of others before us. For example,
Mhm.
indulging in a few too many and waking up the next morning at some place we regret. Except maybe not like this.
Yeah.
A man in Bolivia claims he got drunk and woke up to realize he was being offered as a human sacrifice.
Jeez.
Summer is the season of
What a
outdoor
night.
festivals, and like millions
Yeah.
of merrymakers across the globe, 30-year-old Victor Alvarez was taking advantage of the opportunity to get outside and maybe disconnect a bit with the help of alcohol. Listen, if you're going to disconnect, always get the help of Mother Alcohol.
That's true.
Specifically, he was attending the Mother Earth Fest in El Alto, Bolivia, on August 1st. There, indigenous groups congregate to make offerings to, I'm going to screw this up, but I'm going to try it. Okay, this isn't intentional. Is it Pachamama?
Yes.
Of
I
course
looked it
it
up.
is.
I looked
Yeah.
it up. Said Pachamama.
Wow.
That's what
The
I'm talking
goddess of earth, fertility, and Greg Lawson.
Yeah.
Alvarez
you
had
go.
had some drinks, many drinks by his own admission, and then things got weird. Alvarez passed out after imbibing too much. A few hours later, he awoke with the need to urinate. Fair.
As one does. Yeah.
It was then that he realized he was lying inside a glass coffin that was covered with dirt. We'd gone dancing, he told the media. The only thing I remember is that I thought I was in my bed and I got up to pee and I couldn't move. When I pushed the coffin, I barely broke the glass, and through the glass, dirt began to enter. I managed to get out. However, I had been buried. Alvarez says that once he came to, he realized he was in, I think this is actually named after me, Achachachi, a town about
Yes.
a town about
That's
50
a chachi.
Yeah, that's judgy.
a town about 50 miles from the Mother Earth Festival. So 50 miles away in Bolivia now. He sought out the local police who, guess what, didn't believe his story.
Wow.
Yep.
What?
Greg, we'll have you weigh in here in a moment.
Mhm.
The officers told Alvarez he was still drunk, which he probably was, telling him to go home and sober up. But Alvarez was sworn, or has sworn, to local media that he's telling the truth, claiming the group wanted to use him as a sulu, a sacrifice to the goddess.
Mm.
Pictures and video were published in local media showing Alvarez looking bruised and smudged with dirt. Pachamama is a mythological figure revered by the indigenous people of the Andes. She is considered an earth mother and the goddess of fertility, which extends to the land, enabling a productive harvest and causing earthquakes. Various media sources report that in the modern day, sacrifices to her are common. However, it's usually sweets and not human, maybe even the occasional animal. So far, no known humans until maybe now.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Man, that's
That's like the
rough.
old kidney story, right? Where you wake up after drinking
Right.
and your kidneys are gone. This takes it to
Yeah.
a whole different level.
See, and I thought my friends were like mean when they just put my hand in warm and cold water while I slept. They
Yeah.
took that to a total.
That's level
different
one. This is level two.
the level
this is
10.
taking-
This
Now
10.
listen, if they really meant this guy harm, let's be honest, he wouldn't have just kicked the coffin open and got out. right?
Right.
This guy, if this was a true sacrifice, and I don't know, Greg, you have dealt with a lot of weird crimes in your life. If they really were trying to do this guy in, I think more than like a powder of dirt on top of a glass coffin would be it.
Yeah. They might have forgotten some things, you know?
Like the
Yeah.
dirt.
Yeah.
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 It's like, what were we going to do?
an integral part to sacrificing is, actually sacrificing.
Yeah.
What was that?
The
There was a
glass
movie
coffin. What is that all
with a
about?
good-looking male actor. I can't think who it was. It wasn't.
Serpent
Maybe it was
and
Ryan
the
Reynolds.
Rainbow. No, it was Serpent and the Rainbow
Okay.
with the guy from, he played Damien Omen 3, and then he was in the Jurassic Park movies. Sam Neill. Wasn't that it? Sam Neill?
Sam Neill's an older gentleman, right?
He is now.
Oh,
But back in the day, Serpent and the Rainbow. Isn't that the movie you're thinking of where he gets buried?
No, wasn't that another actor that was Serpent?
Oh,
in the
that was,
Rainbow?
you're right. Ryan Reynolds did do that movie where he was buried alive.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
right.
that was
But
a-
basically, the entire movie, right, is just him in a coffin with like a
That's
lighter
it.
or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Okay,
low.
I skipped that movie. We'll have to have you review it for us sometime.
Wow.
Right up my alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get to it. Mr. Lawson, welcome to the show.
Hey,
Boy, you're surrounded
be
by
here.
coffins. Yeah.
Coolest background yet.
Oh,
Yep.
thanks. I kind of like it here.
Yeah.
Quiet.
It's cold and damp.
Damp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Moist.
Moist.
Speaking of damp,
Yes.
how are y'all doing?
I'm doing well.
I don't get that transition. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
did not get that
I was
transition.
waiting. Yeah, but
Speaking
Matt.
of damp, how you all doing? No, see, here's the answer. If you noticed what I responded with, speaking of damp, how y'all doing? Well, get it? Water.
Well. Oh, wow.
moisture.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a dad
Okay.
joke kind of guy.
That's why this is your show, Dave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Let's
it used to be.
let's move right along.
Yes.
Yeah. Y'all ready? You ready for this?
Yeah.
one?
Let's
All right,
do
Sure.
it.
four-
Let's
these
do
are
it.
4 steps to getting rid of a ghost baby who haunts your home. I thought that you guys might need this just in case you had a ghost baby that haunted your home.
Okay.
So there are some very creepy types of ghosts in various folklore traditions. Unlike your generic ghost, some ghosts are created when they die in a particular gruesome way or appalling ways, or when the proper rites around their death have not been observed. Take, for instance, the Scandinavian ghost they call the Myling. Sometimes they call it an Utbird. Yeah, Utbird. Utbird.
Mhm.
A Myling is a ghost of a baby who was killed by its parents and not
Yikes.
buried properly. Wow. I just
Oh.
looked up and saw that, and
Yeah.
there's a problem there. They
Yeah.
have a problem.
Yeah.
In other words, it's a victim of infanticide. In fact, the alternative terminology, utbird, is Norwegian for that which is taken outside. This reference is made to the infanticide practice of leaving an unwanted child out in the elements where it could quickly freeze to death or be taken away by wild animals.
Mm.
It's nice that we have that it happens so often that we actually have a word that we use for it.
Okay.
Put him outside. All right, let's
Mm-mm.
put him outside. All right, so the ghost will haunt the place of its death or the dwelling of whom killed it. It's known primarily by its unearthly, disembodied cries. It will weep and wail because no one ever cared for it, not even enough to name it or give it a proper burial. But you can put this spirit of this supernatural horror at peace by following these 4 steps. Give the baby a name. Carry the baby toward hollow ground like a church or a cemetery yard. The legend says that the baby will grow bigger as you get closer, making it more and more difficult until you get there. Bury the baby properly. And one additional step is really more for your benefit. Definitely get therapy after you do this. Yeah.
Wait,
So,
wait, have you now
the
given
Utbird,
directions
yeah.
to those that wish to kill their own children
Well, you know,
how to
that's
get
just-
rid of the body
yeah,
and the ghost?
I thought that was kind of strange.
I was
where it
feeling
led
kind of
to
creeped
that.
out on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Wow.
You know,
the
we
more
haven't
you
had that
know.
since he's been gone.
I know, because he's the
Interesting.
bringer of knowledge.
He always
Exactly.
is. Yeah.
He is the
Right.
bringer of knowledge.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It
And you know what
is.
else we've been missing?
Dumbest news of the day.
How's that
Wow.
dumb news? That's
Yeah.
horrible
How's
news.
it dumb? It is
Welcome
horrible
back.
news,
How
but you
can you
just told the hey, if you are a parent that killed your child and don't know how to get rid of it, or it's ghost, here's how you do it. So I don't
Here's
know.
the 4 steps.
Yeah.
Maybe you've been
Remember,
gone
it
too
gets
long.
bigger the closer you get to the burial site, so it'll be harder
Yes.
and harder.
Yeah.
Got a
Crazy.
big baby.
Look
the
at
end.
that thing. Would you cuddle that and take it to the grave? Look at him.
Put it outside.
It's kind of cute in a way, but
Oot
Anybody's
bird.
ever been to an Alice Cooper concert? It looks like the baby he has on stage.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Ootbird.
I've not
Ootbird.
been
Put
to
him
one.
outside.
All right, Colonel, you're up. I hope
Here
you've
we
got a
go.
little bit more cheery tale for us than
yeah. Well,
than the
unfortunately,
return of
I don't
the
think I
paranormal
do.
detective.
Yeah,
No?
I know. Yeah. Well,
Okay, what have
it's
Wow.
it's not every day when we experience random issues in our home that are completely unexplainable and
Mhm.
leave us scratching our heads trying to figure out a solution to the random situation. Well, some of us may have thankfully experienced such moments. Not everyone has been so lucky, Dave.
no.
Today's case in point, TikTok content creator at Lexi Rye. Recently, she uploaded a video showing us how her bathroom wall appears to be bleeding. Yes, Dave, bleeding.
Mm.
In the video, and I think I sent you a copy of the video. I don't know if you still have it.
Yeah, I
In
do.
that video, oh great. In that video,
Mhm.
that's already amassed over 3 million views. We've shown a dark red liquid that dripping down from her mirror cabinet onto her countertop. What's even more strange is that when she opens the cabinet door, there's no evidence of the liquid substance on the inside. This is a real confusing situation that for sure giving us horror movie vibes. And if you don't mind, Dave, if you have that, could you just show that film for me, please?
You got it, boss.
Can anyone help explain to me why my walls are bleeding? I've lived in this house for 20 years, and suddenly last night, my cabinet starts to bleed. I open the cabinet, it's not coming from the inside. There's crap on here, but it's not blood. That's not cabinet blood. So I close the cabinet, look underneath, and it's just kind of a starting point of blood, but the wall is definitely bleeding. This is straight out of a horror movie, not coming from inside. Nope, that's not bloody. That's not bloody. Close the cabinet. What in the shit is on the inside of this cabinet suddenly that is making my walls bleed? Anyone? Can anyone help me figure out why my wall is bleeding, or am I being possessed? And
So when I hear the name anyone, there's only one person I think of that could answer this question. Oh, anyone?
That's me.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Bleeding walls. Paranormal
Yeah,
detective.
there could be an electric ballast up there that has gone bad, and it starts
Mhm.
secreting fats and oils that help the ballast do stuff. It could be a possum that got stuck in the wall, or it could be
Mhm.
Satan.
Yeah.
Good. Well, at least
Yes,
you've
could be.
clarified
One
it.
of
Yeah.
them, yeah.
Yeah.
Down
I've
to three
I would-
possibilities.
I would definitely pull that medicine cabinet out of there. Probably like
All those
now.
stories of people that do that in their bathroom and then they find like a whole hidden room.
How awesome would
Yeah.
that be?
No,
Uh,
not if it's
or a
filled with
head.
blood.
You
Yeah.
pull, those
A little
times you
blood. It's
pull-
not going to hurt anyone. Come on.
You pull the medicine cabinet out, and the head is right there, just a head.
Yeah.
That
God.
always creeps me out when that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually been to a building here in the Twin Cities area, and I was told through rumors that the walls bleed, but you're not supposed to talk about it or bring it up. And I was like, whatever. And I was at this building for an event, and it is a fraternal order. That's all I can really say. This lodge is, there was another kind of show going on there, and I noticed, but it's not in one place where I would have thought, like you, Greg, that maybe a raccoon or a rat died in the wall and it's just bleeding through, but that would also affect the wall. And so I actually went up and I kind of rubbed my finger along it and wiped it off the wall to look if there was a spot that it was coming out from. And once I did that, it just stopped.
Yeah.
And then about 2 inches over, the blood starts trickling out of the wall at a different spot.
Mm.
I don't know what this viscous fluid was. It felt very ticky.
What did it taste like?
Tacky. I didn't do that. I'm not a.
Is it?
That's
I
what
don't
an
have that
investigator
detective
does.
ability.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's
Hey,
a
this-
paranormal detective, not
this
a.
tastes
There
like
you go. Yeah.
Not
decom.
TV's Dave Schrader. Yeah, I don't.
Right.
But it was gross and it was weird. That was very strange. It was a completely weird experience to see that. I mean, you hear the claims and there it is.
Yep.
And depending on how many layers of latex paint that somebody puts
Mhm.
over their sheetrock, sometimes that stuff can bubble up if something dies up in the attic, and it seeps down, and it'll get between the sheetrock and the latex paint and create like a big blister, and you just got to go up there and pop it.
Yeah. You know, 5-star hotels aren't what they used to be, are they? They're just.
Who can afford 5-star hotels nowadays?
Yeah,
World.
There's a recession going on, Marty.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hear you.
put a tap on the Colonel, I guess.
They're-
Next time I come out there, he better not be taking me to the gas station for my opening meal. Now that I know he's popping for 5-star hotels. Come on, Dave. I'm taking you somewhere special for dinner. It's a gas station, Buc-ee's.
I had to
story.
take
Best
the
in the
Buc-ee's.
world.
I had to take
Yeah.
the Buc-ee's, man. That's just like the first thing you take everyone that's never been to
Yeah.
Texas to.
Yeah,
Totally.
Buc-ee's.
When you come to Minnesota next, I'm going to get you some lutefisk because that's what everybody should try. Some lye soap encrusted fish that's been sitting on a windowsill for months. But you got to try it, Marty. Everybody does it.
Wow.
All right, I sound a little bitter. Let me get into this next story.
Hmm.
Charles Dickens, as you guys are familiar with A Christmas Carol, was fascinated by the supernatural, but he was also a skeptic. Now, Charles Dickens, of course, a master of the spooky story. I don't know if you guys realize this, but he wrote more than just one ghost story. And more than 150 years after his death, his tales of phantoms, goblins, and ghosts of Christmas past continue to frighten and delight readers around the world. But Dickens' fascination with spirits and specters transcended the pages of his fiction. Amid the spiritualist craze that gripped Victorian society, he sought out haunted houses and attended seances, even as he kind of scoffed at the idea of ghosts even existing. The author's multifaceted relationships with the supernatural is the focus of an upcoming exhibition at the Charles Dickens Museum in London, opening this fall. To be read at dusk, Dickens, Ghosts, and the Supernatural explores Dickens' lasting influence on the ghostly story genre. He published more than 20 spooky tales in his lifetime, and his dogged interest in the paranormal continued throughout his entire life. Continued. Yeah, let's all have a sip on that one, huh? Mm-hmm.
Let's
Now,
celebrate
as an-
Dave, who never messes up.
That very rarely. I try not to, but thanks for including me in the games. I appreciate it. Now, from an early age, Dickens was immersed in scary stories. His nanny, known as Miss Mercy, terrified him with nightmarish bedtime tales. Unmoved by his pleas that she stop, he was hardly strong enough and old enough to deal with the story being told to him. And yet the author later recalled that she never spared him one word of it. So she was just horrible, right? Just totally teasing him with the supernatural. And as an older child, he read a weekly horror magazine called The Terrific Register, acutely aware of the intense and contradictory emotions that these scary stories would, somehow provoke inside of him. Dickens' interest in the supernatural persisted into adulthood. And according to the museum's website, Dickens was a fascinated skeptic, more interested in the psychological roots of paranormal occurrences than in finding proof of their actual existence. And I thought this was pretty interesting as you go along and learn more about the historic people that wrote the books that we all grew up reading and seeing all of this. He was so into the spiritualism movement and religious cultural movement rooted in the belief that the souls of the dead can communicate with the living. That movement, of course, swept through America and Europe in the 19th century, and they counted many prominent figures among its adherents. He actually was, they consider him one of the founders of the Ghost Club in London, England. So while Dickens attended multiple seances, he remained unconvinced. The writer is also thought to have been a founder of the London Ghost Club. Oh, that's another one, Ghost Club.
Wow.
It's hard to
Ghost
say.
club,
Yeah,
loves
words are
ghost
tough.
clubs.
Yeah, that investigated supposed supernatural encounters, all with the intention of just exposing frauds. Dickens was not immune to the crazies, though, that captivated Victorian society during his lifetime. He considered himself a skilled practitioner of mesmerism, which purported to cure patients by putting them into trances and then manipulating magnetic fluid in their bodies. But the ghosts, goblins, and other supernatural phenomena that populate this writing perhaps reflect a more keen awareness of what his readers wanted to see rather than his own personal convictions. He loved the idea of people being scared of ghost stories, Dunbar tells The Guardian. Dickens, she added, was a businessman, and he knew exactly what he was doing. He liked to be close to his audience. He was in touch with the popular culture of the time, and he just played into that. So he knew what his audience was. He knew what they were looking for, and he delivered. I don't know. Have you guys read any of Dickens' other scary stories?
I haven't. No.
Yeah, we should. I've been saying I wanted to do this for years, and I think now that we've got the crew for this, I just got to find an engineer that's willing to do the work for us. I think we should do a radio play of A Christmas Carol that we can play this Halloween season, where we do all the voices, and we'll get some of our listeners to chime in, and maybe some of our famous friends to do a couple of lines of dialogue, not cocaine, just so we're clear on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, which friends? Those are
yeah.
two different groups of friends. There.
Yeah, not those friends. The other ones.
So that might be something
We should do that
wanna
live.
consider.
That would be really great.
Yeah, I'd prefer that we edit. I mean,
Yeah.
especially speaking Dickensian English. Yeah, I mean, we're having trouble with regular English.
Listen,
I don't know.
I wrote down, you got mesmerism right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good word.
That's one of his
Thank you.
words, though.
But you got ghosts wrong, so I don't know.
Well, I didn't get
That's us.
Ghost wrong so much as Ghost Club. When you run them together, your mind is trying to fill in
Yeah.
gaps. So Ghost Club just sounded much
Well,
better in my
It
mind. to me.
does.
Really?
It does.
All right, Eric, you're back up. You've got another story to share for us, and this time we're going to go into one of America's most haunted churches, I've been told.
Correct. Ripe with demonic Ouija boards, scratches,
Wow.
and more. There we go.
Yikes! All
A
right.
Here we go. A creepy church terrified ghost hunters when they received demonic Ouija board messages before fleeing the place of worship with scratches on their arms.
Yeesh.
Todd Morden Unitarian Church in West Yorkshire is a well-known hangout for phantom-like figures, and for experienced ghost hunter Rob Pike and his team, all the terrifying rumors turned out to be true. Pike had visited the haunted church during the Easter weekend of 2019 with about a dozen family members. We weren't expecting a lot, to be brutally honest, Pike admitted, and he was in for a lot more than he bargained for. Pike and his team start ghost hunting events with a protection, he explained, to ensure they don't bring any unwanted guests home. However, before they did this, 3 members of the group went into the cellar, calling on the ghost to come forward and do their worst. I'm disappointed already. When they emerged, all 3 had scratches on their arms, Pike said. They were well aware, nope, that's not what it says at all. They were well, I didn't screw the word up, I just got ahead of myself.
Well.
They were well away from anything that was down there. Nothing caught them, but the 3 of them came up with 3 physical red scratches on their arms. But their foray into the otherworldly was just beginning. After performing the protection, the group were exploring the church when they heard 3 almighty bangs up at the top of the bell tower, even though nobody, including the 2 volunteers who were working at the church, were up there. Despite the terrifying start, the group decided to continue with their original plan for the night, using a Ouija board to contact spirits. But as Pike's wife began to move a large table to the place... What does it say? But as Pike's wife began to move a large table to place the board on, she was overwhelmed by a horrifying stench of sulfur. There were these little clues throughout the night, these little things that happened. Whether or not they were hints, I didn't get them. Pike and his crew extracted the Ouija board, which he says they cleanse carefully before and after each use to ensure that no spirits are left over from other locations. They were just about to get started on the board when Pike noticed his beagle Dory with her paws up on the wall, something he thought was suspicious. If she doesn't have to expend energy, she won't. If she can be asleep, she'll be asleep. But she was up at the wall looking up, but there was nothing up there. It was then that things took a turn for the worse. We managed to get the glass moved in between a few of us. We got information, though. We got a birth date and so on. So I asked, are you playing games with us? And the planchette went straight to yes. All of a sudden, the planchette started to go around in an anti-clockwise circle, Pike recalled. Isn't that also a counterclockwise?
Counterclockwise?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you're over there, it's anti-clockwise.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Good
It's
call.
Britain,
And when
they're-
you're when
they
you're
change
dealing
it.
with dealing with demons, it's anti.
I appreciate that.
That's the
Yeah.
difference. Okay.
Because it says that is believed to be the evil direction of rotation. I thought, okay, whoever you are, I want you to leave the board.
The
Pike-
evil way of rotation. I like that.
Yeah, listen, I highlighted it actually.
Mhm.
Pike asked the spirit to leave several times, with the planchette moving to no each and every time. Eventually, the poltergeist left, and Pike and his posse decided to leave. Finally, safely back in their car and on the road, Pike and his family chatted away about their horrifying experience when a final spooky encounter occurred.
What?
We put on a Stevie Nicks CD. I'm sorry. We put on a U2 CD. We were giving family members a lift home. The music didn't stop, but a loud voice came over the speakers as clear as day and said, "Shut up." Pike has been back to the church twice, but nothing quite as scary has ever happened.
I don't
Shut
remember
up.
Bono yelling that out in any of his. I remember, we're taking the song back. Charles Manson stole it from the Beatles. We're stealing it back. I remember that from, Helter Skelter, but I don't remember never just yelling "shut up" in the middle of a song.
Shut
Unless maybe
up.
Edge was getting on his nerves.
Yeah, that could have been
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, they have a good
Maybe.
relationship, though, right?
I don't know.
They're not like John and Paul.
No, I don't know. You know who
Paul and
does have a good
George.
relationship? Cindy Kaza and Dave Schrader. That's why they're back with the Ghosts of Devil's Perch, which begins August 21st on the Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. So make sure you check that out. It's this Sunday, everybody. You've been wanting to see Cindy and I back on TV. We're back this season on Ghosts of Devil's Perch. So check it out. Yes, don't worry. We're not going to keep reminding you every week, multiple times, just one or two times every episode. That's all. All right, Gregory, you've got a story
Hi.
to share. Yeah.
I do.
What have you got
Yeah.
for me?
So let's go to Harvard, shall we? A Harvard professor believes alien tech could have crashed into the Pacific Ocean, and he wants to find it. A Harvard University professor believes a meteorite that crashed into the Pacific Ocean in 2014 may be made of material that one could expect to be in their favorite sci-fi movie. Avi Loeb. Is that right? Avi Loeb? Yeah.
Yeah.
Avi Loeb, the longest serving chair of Harvard University's Department of Astronomy, is convinced that this object may be alien technology or a meteorite of unprecedented material strength. None of this is possible to confirm without physically studying the object, so the professor has planned an expedition to retrieve it it that will cost over $1 million. Let's all take a drink, shall we?
Ooh.
Yeah,
let's do
I'm
let's do
not
that.
sure where I was with that.
Welcome
But
back, Frank.
y'all can see it's underwater there.
Yes, I can see it right there.
Yeah. And so it's going to cost over $1 million in funding from private donors. This will be the first time that humans put their hands on material that makes an object that came from another star. While the data now confirms that the object is of interstellar origin, the path to confirm this wasn't immediate. Using the data from government sensors, primarily used for national natural. Oh boy.
Nah.
Hey, have a drink.
Drink.
Greg, you gotta wait. Don't
who
start
wrote
drinking
this?
until the show starts. You're not supposed to start throwing them back beforehand. Those
Who
white
wrote
claws
this
will get
thing?
to you, son.
Using data from government sensors, primarily used for national security as part of our missile defense program, Loeb and his students studied multiple meteors to see if any stood out. I found the catalog that the government compiled of meteorites that were detected by government sensors of our missile warning system. I asked my student to check if any of the meteors, the fastest moving meteors, could have arrived at Earth from outside the solar system, he explained. There was one particular that sparked interest of Loeb and his student, Amir Siraj. Yeah. Based on the speed of the meteor and how much the object burned up on entry, Loeb determined that it must be made of material that is tougher than iron. Despite the government releasing limited data due to national security concerns, he had discovered something groundbreaking. The paper he wrote with his student laid out what he believed to be true. But 3 years after writing his findings, a major development confirmed that what he knew all along. After a few years, the release of the letter from the U.S. Space Command in the Department of Defense stated that it stated explicitly that this meteor at 99.999% confidence level came from outside the solar system. Armed with this new evidence validating his findings, Loeb decided to take action and make moves to recover the object. Loeb is confident that they will recover what they are in search of. While Loeb has raised $500,000, he is still seeking an extra $1 million that will be needed to get a boat to the meteor explosion site off the coast of Papua New Guinea in order to retrieve the interstellar object. Yeah.
Very nice.
So there you go.
Interesting.
Wow.
How do you spell his last name? I want to read more about that.
Loeb, Loeb.
Yeah,
Loeb.
like
Oh, yeah,
Lisa Loeb.
Loeb.
Yeah. I said. That's right.
Oh, God.
Good
I
God.
love it.
Why you got to be so sensitive about everything, Greg?
Well,
Come on.
I'm
man.
just-
Yeah, come on now.
Just trying to do my job.
You don't see the colonel so easily rattled, and he's
Not
been
at all.
retired. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe you're just so relaxed now. Your color's looking great, Marty. Have you been out in the sun?
I have actually. I was at a UT football practice yesterday with our friend Eric Folsom, actually. So,
Wow, in
Were you
Austin,
guys?
where
Yeah.
I live? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice that y'all did that.
Yeah.
I
Fun.
didn't get an invitation either, Greg. So quit your whining. All right, Martin, where are we going?
Hey, Dave there. The world. I almost called you
Thanks
Greg.
for recognizing me. Hey, Greg, Rick, or Dave, whoever you are. Yeah. Yeah, see, look, Marty, it'll help you if you just look up. You see, it says Paranormal 60 with.
Oh,
Dave Schrader.
Dave.
That big
Schrader.
banner. Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
looking
that's,
at.
it's there to help you in case you forget halfway through.
Thank you. That
Yeah.
does help. Thank you.
And then right in front of me, right there, if you look, where is it? Right there by my microphone,
Dave Schrader.
Yeah, the guy
You just-
below me, that's Great Moon Hoax.
Loeb. Thank you. Thank you, Dave. And I will
Yeah.
make sure to use those
Those little
assistance,
cues.
things next time.
I
Yeah.
put them there to help you. Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Hey, the world needs to step up its probe into 143 unexplained close encounters between unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, and military jets before tragedy strikes, according to U.S. Congressman Tim Burchett. Though Defense Chief and U.S. Space Agency NASA have launched separate probes into potential alien craft, the 57-year-old politician has warned progress has not been quick enough. He has called on the U.S. government to make public all the record it holds on UFO sightings, and Top Gun pilots who claim to have had close encounters to be called to give evidence to Congress. Tim, former mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, expressed frustration. Defense chief have so far only been able to find an explanation for one of 144 reported sightings since 2004. He claimed the search for the truth is being hampered by a lack of transparency, which isn't just unfair to the public, but it could put the safety of our pilots in jeopardy. Plenty of military pilots have reported UAP encounters that have no logical explanation, he said. Some of them have warned it was only a matter of time before an aircraft got into a mid-air collision with an unexplained object. Yeah. Yet, despite these warnings and reports, wow, yeah.
Yeah. I like the way you get
Are
into
those
that. Yeah.
technically moans, or what are those that you guys are doing?
It was
I
pain.
don't know what he was
Tones
doing.
of pain.
I try to give Marty a little, to let him know
Yeah.
we're still listening, and then it throws him off every time because then he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to participate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dip, yeah.
Yeah. All right, go
Yeah.
ahead. So Tim Burchett.
Yeah. So some of them have warned it was only a matter of time before the aircraft. Yeah, we talked about that. Yet, despite these warnings and reports, the first standardized reporting structure wasn't established until 2019, Our government has been surprisingly quiet about the topic for many decades, despite the many reports. In June, NASA announced it is forming a team of space boffins to probe such unidentified aerial phenomena. The team will spend 9 months examining evidence before producing a report that will be made to public. A spokesman for the space agency said, while there's no evidence the sightings were extraterrestrial in origin, it accepted unidentified phenomena in the atmosphere are of interest for both national security and air safety.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, that's
Mhm.
understandable.
Yeah.
What would you do, guys? You're on a plane heading to the Michigan Paracon, which takes place next week, and you're just looking out the window and you suddenly see a UFO come up alongside. Would you start videotaping? Would you just stare so that you didn't miss it and keep your eye on it? What would your Marty?
Videotape.
What would what would
Videotape.
you do?
Yeah, the iPhone's coming out. I'm taking
Mhm.
pictures. But it
Aren't you
doesn't matter
afraid by the
'cause
time you turn it on, get it ready, load it, you may have missed it already?
God, what's
I
wrong
would
with your
I
phone?
would be more concerned that the flight attendant is missing my drink from being filled. That's really what concerns me at that point.
God, I
Me and Eric,
appreciate you.
And,
me and Eric,
we skipped over the boffins altogether. We're getting a bunch of boffins.
boffins.
What are boffins? Yeah, I don't know what a
Yeah.
boffin is.
It's a scientist. It's a
and-
slang.
and-
It's an English slang term for scientist. Yeah, boffins.
Yes.
Wow.
An
look at
individual
you.
engaged in scientific
I got an
research.
associate's degree in English.
Nice.
Wow.
You
do.
Googled it while he said it, didn't you?
I can't read or spell, but there you go.
Yeah.
But I know what boffin means.
Boffin, you
I
stupid
know what a
boffin.
boffin is. Yep.
So you would videotape it, Greg.
I would. Yeah.
Oh,
No,
no,
now we're on to
is
Greg.
me.
You see how he's in the big
This-
Look
square?
at the
Yeah.
names, Marty, on the screen.
Yeah,
You're
let me
Marty.
help you out.
He's
He
Greg.
was
Marty.
talking to me, but I guess we
I did
switched
well
over to
in
Greg.
Marty's defense.
Mhm.
I said, Marty, what do you think? And both Eric and Greg answered earlier. So
Yeah.
it's only
Well,
fair that
We all
Greg and
go
a
by each
Marty.
other's names.
Yeah, Greg and Eric make one Marty.
Oh, is that?
That's
Yeah,
Wow.
I can see that.
I have an
So you'd
associate's degree in
videotape.
math.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
And
would
Eric-
definitely videotape. That would be the first thing. I'm hitting my little button there.
How about
You
you?
know, there's a
Greg? Would you
button on your
videotape or
phone
just
that'll
watch?
automatically start videoing, right?
So I'll be
No,
the first
but
to admit. Oh,
I don't have my phone on during the flights.
What?
We're
Yeah,
doing
like
one
I
of
don't
those.
keep my phone on. I like watch a movie. I read. Sometimes I talk to the people next to me, or I
Oh, you're
lick
one of
the
those.
window.
I was gonna
Dave.
say.
He
Yeah, he's
follows
one of those.
the
Goes, hey, so where are you heading?
Where you guys up to? I just
I'm-
bait them,
I'm
hoping they're going
coming
to say,
from Devil's
"Where are
Perch."
you going?" Yeah,
Devil's
exactly. I'm just
Perch.
hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping
Yeah.
they're just going to bait him into it so they talk to me.
What
and
do
then
you
they
do for a
realize,
living?
I'm Rick from
Yeah.
Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
videotape. That's just the consensus across the board.
Yeah,
Not
it is.
watching it and just taking it in.
I would actually not use videotape because it's a very old format. I would use the iPhone.
iPhone. All right.
I got my video camera on my shoulder.
Yeah. They don't, I guess there are some flights that don't allow you, if they see you pull out a camera and start filming out the window, they actually tell you to stop. Do you know any
Yeah.
reason for that, Greg? Being the law enforcement kind of guy you
Nope.
pretend to be? No?
Nope.
Makes
Could be
no
because
sense
the
for you.
pilot was speeding.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's a
That
myth.
could be it,
actually.
too.
I don't know if that's
think it's a myth.
necessarily
Or
the
maybe
truth of it all.
the airlines have full rights for UFO
Oh,
videotaping.
copyright. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
you didn't
could
think about that, did you? Yeah.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
do you realize what? Yeah. Well, gosh, what was this
We're
week?
like-
Yeah, earlier this week. Do you realize that it was the death anniversary of the pretzel himself, Elvis Presley?
Yesterday. No, a couple days ago, right?
You
Yeah,
know,
it was
there
on. What was it? Tuesday.
I remember where I was when he died.
So do I. My buddy's house.
Were you?
Yeah, yeah. We were. I was dropped off for babysitting in the morning because I was a little kid. I was 10 years old, and I was staying at his house. And I remember we heard it on the news that morning, and then I went up and woke him up and told him that Elvis was
Elvis?
dead. Yeah.
Oh, your friend.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I didn't wake up Elvis. There was no waking him up.
Guys.
No.
Not at that point.
You-
So,
When you
I-
die on the pooper, that's it.
Yeah.
so I know we're all from different generations, so I'm going to ask a serious
Are
question
we?
here. So the first famous person that I ever remember passing away, and I remember I was like, where was I when that happened? Was Prince. That was my earliest memory.
Wow. All right. So, Oma, your first 50 years? What's going on here?
No. So mine was Reagan. That was the first one I really remember was Reagan, right? When he got shot.
What?
Shot.
Yeah.
Not when he died, when he got shot.
You didn't get,
So that was in the afternoon. I know we got a 60-minute show here, but when did Elvis die? I don't even know. Was it a morning, afternoon? When did it break on TV? We didn't have 24-hour news cycles back then. So
I'm assuming in the morning, he's having
right. Well, I think he
morning
went to
constitution.
Yeah, well, it was like middle of the night. He was having trouble sleeping, if I remember, and he went in and he was reading a book, and Dukin went out and then just kind of boom. That's it.
Yeah,
beefed it right there. So they found him ass up and pressed on the book. I guess I don't know.
Did they actually report that at the time, or was that something you guys found out later?
I think they said that they found him on the throne. The king was on the throne, if I remember correctly. But that was like the morning jocks talking about it. But I mentioned that because
it's time now for ParaTunes. Thank you very much.
That was a long ParaTunes intro.
Wow. Yeah, I got to tell you, though, if you guys have not seen Baz Luhrmann's new Elvis movie, it's well worth watching. There's some inaccuracies in the telling of the time frame of some of the stuff, but the actor they got playing Elvis is freaky good. I mean, really, I guess this guy from my understanding, he locked himself in basically for 2 years watching everything Elvis did and learning to talk like him. And now when he does interviews, he still has kind of that drawl in the way of speaking like Elvis. But he does such a good job. There are times when you're watching the movie, at least for me, I forgot I wasn't watching Elvis. That's how good he was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's all do our Elvis impression. Dave, go.
That's not.
Come on, Dave.
I'd like another fried nano sandwich, man. That's
pretty good.
So let me ask you, Dave. Johnny Cash movie, Walk the Line.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix. Who did a better portrayal of the Joaquin of Johnny or this guy of Elvis?
No, this guy of Elvis. Hands down.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Joaquin was okay, but I always see him as Joaquin Phoenix. This guy, there are points like when he does the comeback special, you would have a hard
Blurred
time
the
telling
lines, huh?
who's
Really?
Elvis. Yeah.
Wow.
Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody, that same essence, but Baz Luhrmann does a much bigger style kind of production, the way he does the storytelling. So it's visually alluring, it's beautifully crafted, well acted, and check it out for yourself. But I got a little email here.
All right.
From some listeners. Are you ready for this? I feel like we're going back to Casey Kasem time, right?
Paper email.
The letter says, "Hi, Dave. This is Johnny Cobb, and I really enjoy your show. 2 original songs from our current project are attached for your consideration. This one is called Rendlesham, about the UFO incident in England. You have our permission to use them. Both compositions were composed, produced, and performed by Johnny Cobb, vocals and keyboards, and Grammy-nominated artist." How about that? And Jerry McCoy, guitars and bass. He's a master guitarist from the Blues Hall of Fame. Ultra International Music, BMI, and Air Hammer Music, BMI. Thanks for your time and interest. And ladies and gentlemen, here they are, Johnny Cobb and Jerry McCoy, with a little tune they call Rendlesham.
Just after midnight, late December 1980. Strange lights in the sky, glowing spears among the trees. The woods lit up like fire, electricity. Feel the air, all hell let loose in Rendlesham. The silence echoes through the forest to the bone. stop. Reality change, lost in state of shock. After encounter at Rendlesham.
Ran, do, shum. I'm starting to learn the lyrics already. Rendlesham.
It's a catchy tune.
That had a Peter Gabriel vibe to it.
Yeah, it did.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Peter
Yeah,
Gabriel.
very cool.
That's
Very
good
cool.
music.
Hey, I've got some special news in our commercial edition of the episode, guys. I got to jump into this real quick. There's a brand new book out there called Conflicted Reality, My
What?
Paranormal Journey by Eric's wife, Nikki Folsom, with a foreword by Dave Schrader. That guy's good.
Wow.
I don't
Yeah.
care what kind of project he's associated with. You know it's going to be good.
Ooh, look at
Yeah. look at
Eric
that.
already
There's
has a
the actual
copy.
book.
Yeah.
Conflicted Reality. I'll put a link up for that book in today's program guide so you can find it, order it for yourself. It's an amazing story filled with all kinds of cool paranormal activity that happened to Nikki Folsom, and some of it was with me and her husband. Kind of
Wow.
a paranormal menage a trois, if you will.
Hmm.
I
need
never
to buy
thought of
that
it that
book.
way, Dave, but I will always think of it that way going forward.
I
And thanks
I
for
do.
doing
I-
the forward for her, by the way. I appreciate
Oh,
that.
of course. Of course.
Dave,
I had no
Dave,
choice. So
You've
what?
been to Rendlesham Forest.
I have been to Rendlesham.
Yeah.
Ren, do,
Oh,
shum.
Remember touching the
Rendlesham.
thing there?
Pardon,
Excuse
Greg.
me.
Whoa, whoa,
Greg, can
whoa.
we have
over.
some decorum?
Come
Yeah.
on.
Good God.
Family show, Greg. Family
Yes,
show.
we touched the pretend UFO that they crafted and put into space.
right.
Yeah, well, you and I were like,
Seems like there was
hoping-
a really good photograph of some of us there, but I guess
Don't
we can't
remember
show
that.
that.
Doesn't ring a
You know what I do remember? Coming up this weekend is Ghosts of Devil's Perch on Travel Channel. You can see it on Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. Dave Schrader, Cindy Keza, KD Stafford, all on hand to be a part of this. I'm excited. Are you guys excited for the new show?
We're excited.
Are you going to be watching it in
Gettysburg.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll be in
weekend, not next
Gettysburg
weekend.
this weekend. This weekend, I'm in Gettysburg already for the big Gettysburg Battle Bash. Come on out. See, Shane and I are going to be there. There's going to be a lot of other great speakers this weekend. It's $20 entrance, and all the money goes to the Wounded Warrior Project and Heroes for Hire for children dealing with terminal diseases and illness. So there's I guess around 1,500 to 2,000 people that come out for this event. It's a lot of fun. We're going to be there putting on our A game, getting a chance to meet and greet and autograph signings and hanging out. So come on out and be a part of that this weekend. But the following weekend is the weekend that my new show breaks, and I will be in Gettysburg, and I won't be leaving till Monday. So I'll actually be watching it in Gettysburg. So I'll be live tweeting during the show, so you can check that out as well.
Will you be in Michigan the following Sunday?
Yes. Yeah,
Overnight?
that is correct. Yeah, I'm there. No, I won't be. No,
Okay, that's what I
Sunday
was
I
wondering.
leave.
You'll be home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shoot. Yeah. Well, all right. Hold on. We've got just a little bit more money making to do here.
Haunted Magazine, issue 34, is out June 7th, featuring exclusive interviews by Chris Fleming and Gail Porter about their new show, Spooked Scotland. Richard Estep investigates the Sally House. Sam Baltrusis shares a personal story about Salem. Kate Ray explores the gnomes of Wollerton Hall. The origins of Dracula by Neil Story. And there's much, much more. Order in print from the Haunted Magazine website, or visit W.H. Smith in the UK, Barnes & Noble in the US, and outlets in Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Also available in app stores. And remember, don't be normal, be paranormal.
Hey guys, I also want to remind you something else pretty exciting, big deal coming up. I want you to join me in Egypt. We have a very limited amount of tickets left for this. I believe we're down to 6 tickets left for the Egypt Obscuro event. It is Schrader's of the Lost Ark. That's the way I like to call it. Tracy Ash will be there. She's a metaphysician. She is a medium. She is getting us access to some of the most amazing places. I'll be on hand. We're going to have a great time touring and seeing some of these pyramids, into the crypts, and we get to do a special seance in Howard Carter's home right in time for the 100th anniversary of the opening of the crypt and the beginning of the curse of King Tutankhamun. So if you want to be a part of that, go check out darknessevents.com and you'll find it. Just scroll down the page and you can find all the events I'll be a part of between now and then. So I hope you'll go check that out as well. Let's get jumping back into it, guys. We still have some stories to try to cover here. What have we got? Oh, this one's a Dave story. How exciting.
Have at it, Dave.
Whoa.
I
Everybody
never get
your
enough
drinks
of
ready.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I like me some
Wow.
Dave.
All right. Well, on August 4th, 1990, 2 hikers near Calvine in Scotland took a photograph of a mysterious diamond-shaped flying object hovering in the middle of the sky. This is considered the best UFO picture ever. It's called the Calvine photo, and it's been found after missing for 30 years. Now, it's 32 years that image, dubbed the Calvine photo, disappeared from the public eye, becoming the object of speculation, theories, and myths. But now, the groundbreaking image has finally resurfaced thanks to the efforts of British journalist David Clarke. That's right. After 13 years of research, Clarke, who has worked as a curator for Britain's National Archives and is currently an associate professor at Sheffield Hallam University, found that former Royal Air Force press officer Craig Lindsay had held onto a copy of the remaining original print, waiting for someone to inquire about the mysterious image. And it is pretty amazing. This is a great shot. Take a look at that. Now, in the photo, one of a series of 6 the hikers reportedly took, a diamond-shaped object can be seen flying in the sky, while a fighter jet can be spotted in the background not too far from it. It's the first time that the public has had access to this elusive image, which has been described as the best UFO photo ever taken. Back in 1990, 2 hikers brought the photo to Scotland's Daily Record newspaper for publication, but instead, the newspaper handed the image over to the British Ministry of Defense, which kept it secret until now. The Daily Record's picture editor at the time sent them to Craig Lindsay, who was the RAF press officer in Scotland. He passed the print to the Ministry of Defense in London. The Ministry of Defense in London then asked him to obtain the negatives. So he went back to the Daily Record, asked the Daily Record to send the negatives to London, which they duly did, quite amazingly, and that's when they disappeared. Poof, without a trace. The photograph and the negatives just disappeared. Clarke writes that the information linked to the photo together with the image should have been normally released by now, as 30 years have passed. But the identities of the 2 hikers who took the photo are still unknown and are not expected to be revealed before the year 2072, as the Ministry of Defense has cited privacy concerns. Oddly, despite all of the publicity, the 2 chaps who took the photos have never come forward, Clarke told Newsweek. The negatives have never been seen since they reached the Ministry of Defense, and now the Ministry of Defense say that they returned them to the Daily Record. But the Daily Record said they never received them, and they have no idea what happened to them. So there's a lot of questions yet to be answered. While we don't know exactly what happened to the men who took the photo, we do know what they described happened 32 years ago. And this is how it went. According to what Lindsay told Clarke, the 2 men were working as chefs in a hotel in Pitlochry in the Scottish Highlands. when one summer evening they decided to go for a walk in the hills near Kelvin. While out walking, the two spotted a huge diamond-shaped flying object moving silently in the sky. They saw this thing in the sky, and it scared them, Clark told Newsweek. They ran into some woodland area to sort out their heads and figure out what they had just witnessed, when they heard this jet come down the valley. And then 2 minutes later, it returned and started circling around the object. And that's when they took the photographs. Whether what the two men saw on that summer evening in 1990 was actually a UFO, as the two men thought, it's unclear. Clark had the photo analyzed by one of his colleagues, senior lecturer in photography at Sheffield Hallam University, Andrew Robinson, who said the image shows no signs of manipulation. It follows that this is either a genuine unidentified flying object in the sky, the report by Robinson reads, or that the construction of manipulation used to create this effect occurred in front of the camera and not in capturing of the scene on film, nor in the subsequent processing and printing of the image. Lindsay is also convinced that the image is not a hoax. But while Clark admits the photo is by far the best UFO photograph he's ever seen, the journalist says he doesn't believe the object in the image is actually an alien flying saucer. More on that as this story continues to unfold, but I thought that was a good one.
Wow.
What do you guys think? Is that, to you, is that one of the most impressive photographs of a UFO?
It's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah. I mean, it's also showing, a pretty good image of the plane right below it. So it looks, it's definitely a pretty good one.
Something to consider. No doubt about it. All
Those
right.
guys were chefs, huh?
Yeah. Good thing they had a camera out on their walk in 1990. They call shenanigans or chef-nanigans. Thank you.
That was good. That was good.
Thank you.
Try the veal. I'll be here all week.
All right.
Chef
Chachi. Where are we going next, sir?
My final story of the evening. A woman shares her story about visits from aliens. I wasn't sure that I was ever really going to tell anybody about this, begins a woman on a TikTok confessional. Oh, I hope this is what I think it is. I don't want to freak everyone out because I'm fine. Then she begins to describe her ongoing and long-term interaction with what she thinks might be alien ships. For about 7 or 8 years, she claims, she would wake up in the middle of the night and see a strange object floating in her room. At first, the object appeared to her as a helium balloon, but lately, in the past 10 months or so, they have appeared as a tiny, intricate, and distinct alien ship. Most recently, one little red one, it was so cute, she said, finished its circuit of her bedroom, then opened a portal in the air and vanished through it. These experiences have not scared her, and she's keeping with her burgeoning spiritual understanding.
Burgeoning?
Is that the word?
Is it burgeoning? Maybe burgeoning sounds like something you do to beef before you'd cook it.
Burgeoning.
No, I think it's burgeoning. I think they were.
Is this not a story about beef?
It is not. Have a sip, everybody, as we burgen the rest of this story in a second.
Oh God!
It was Eric.
I'm with you, Eric. It's burgeoning.
It's burgeoning.
I got 3 of them tonight. So,
Greg, you're the English guy. Is it burgeoning or burgeoning?
Yeah, it's burgeoning.
Yeah, burgeoning. Yeah.
He's only got an associates.
Yeah. So it's burgeoning.
Well, that's already better than all of us, so we're good to go. All right, so go on.
Though seeing things that others can't can often make the person experience very uneasy, there is nothing inherently wrong or unsafe about it. Our brains are mysterious things, and input signals are not always as clear as we like to think. For example, hypnagogic hallucinations.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. Hypnagogic.
Jesus.
What?
Have another sip. It's hypnagogic and
Hypnagogic. Hypnagogic.
What?
Don't ever do that again. I almost sprayed my Bloody Mary all over.
I was looking for the nasal spray.
I think Greg did. That's why he dipped off camera. It's hypnagogic moment.
Dave, I think that was supposed to have been my story. That's the problem.
Hypnagogic all the way.
Remember,
look at how red the detective's head is. It's like
I got a
cherry
math
sitting
degree,
on top
okay?
of that. Look at him. Hypnagogic. All right. Burgeoning and hypnagogic. Yeah.
What's weird? Look, I even highlighted it so I wouldn't screw it up. Okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Look, you got this, Eric. You got this.
Google
And then-
pronunciation. Just Google
Yeah.
pronunciations.
Yeah.
Sensing something that is not present with any of your five senses right as you are falling asleep or waking up are a very common experience for many people. It's like having a dream while still being awake. Additionally, studies have also shown that people who, quote, hear voices may actually be detecting sub-vocalizations. I didn't even have to highlight that. Inside their own heads. They are talking to themselves without even realizing it.
Boom.
Wow.
Boom.
That was great.
Yeah, I would definitely high five you if you didn't blow Bergening and
Oh,
Hypnagogic.
my God.
I said it was my last story of the night. I was preparing everybody.
That's
You
right.
did.
They knew what was
You did.
coming.
Wow. All right, Colonel. I see I slip the story sometimes to Eric to try to give you a little freedom, son.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
let's-
very much.
Marty's
That
had a
brings
strong
you-
night. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
He's had a
Marty
real
is. He's
strong night.
he's
Man,
been
do not
practicing.
do no, don't do that to me.
Oh, you haven't
No,
made any
do that
mistakes
too.
tonight. This is great.
Oh my God.
Nor do I expect you to make any.
Yeah, no, that would not happen. Not when he's running the, it's
Strong.
it's ninth inning.
Yeah.
Bases loaded.
okay.
Hit it out of here.
Oh,
boys.
Bases
Ninth
loaded.
inning. Come on.
Here we go.
Praise
Okay.
All right.
Pray
All
for
right,
me.
shake
please.
it off, buddy. You got it. Here we go.
Okay.
Ready?
So Fox Nation's Alien Abductions, hosted by Abby Hornacek, unpacks some of the most legendary alien encounters and introduces people around the world who claim to have been abducted by extraterrestrial beings. One of the several stories featured in the six-part series that Hornacek traces is the mysterious invention of the integration.
Oh God.
Oh, integration.
Integratron.
Integratron.
Yeah, it's the
Good
Integratron.
Lord. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Integration. Do you not look up the word integration?
That's goober natural.
All right. Okay. By George
Wiki,
Van
wiki.
Tassel. No, I was right on that one.
He was right. I give him one. He got one.
Yeah, I got
Mhm.
one back. A legendary alien abductee and a ufologist who lived in the Mojave Desert in California. Van Tassel is largely considered to be one of the first contactees with aliens, and in many ways is said to have kicked off a movement in 1950s America.
A movement.
I corrected
How
myself.
simple are these words? A movement.
Does that count if you correct yourself? Is
I
that-
correct-
Yeah,
Corrected
no,
myself.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does.
Do you,
Yeah.
do you have bowel movements or is it dual movements?
Lisa
Have a sip,
Loeb.
Marty. Yeah.
Okay, kickoff of a movement in 1950s America after allegedly encountering an alien from Venus named Solganda.
Wow.
Yeah,
That you get right.
thank you. The new Fox Nation series unpacks Van Tassel's story of meeting Solganda, who supposedly gave extraterrestrial instructions to Van Tassel on how to build an immortality device. This device became known as the Integratron, which is considered a time...
Integratron.
Integratron.
Integratron. Integratron.
I'm pronouncing it the way it is spelled.
There
Which
you
you
go.
Wait,
considered-
wait, are you? Integratron.
Integratron.
Yeah.
There you go. See?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Integrity.
Oh, well, okay.
Which is considered a time machine and a healing device. While building the 38-foot tall structure, Van Tassel grew a following. He eventually turned into the Church of Universal Wisdom, increasing financial support for its out-of-this-world device.
Love it.
Hornacek travels through the legacies like Van Tassel's and speaks with experts to uncover the mysteries and conspiracies of alien encounters and extraterrestrial beings on Alien Abductions, available to stream now.
We didn't interrupt you, but we all knew.
Yeah, that was
Ah,
poor little fella.
You guys,
We love you. We love you, Colonel. Just remember that. That's the important thing. You only hurt the ones you love, the ones you never intended to hurt at all.
Wow. Is that how that works?
That's deep.
Yeah.
I gotta write
All
that
right,
down.
Gregor. Or is that Drieg Lawson?
Yeah.
Grieg Lawson, you're up. What's our story?
I've been in the sun. I've got a little sunburn going on.
Is it? Yeah. Is that
Yeah.
what you call it? Mm-hmm.
So run down here to Brazil real quick, and artwork stolen from elderly widow in bizarre soothsayer plot found from Brazilian police. That's what it says. That's exactly what it says.
I got to get in on this.
Yeah. Millions of dollars worth of art were stolen from an elderly widow in an alleged plot involving a soothsayer has been found by police in Brazil. Officers believe 6 people were involved in stealing the 16 paintings, which have been valued at more than $125 million. Yeah. The haul included museum quality pieces from Brazil artists. Yeah. Police say that the plot to steal the works was orchestrated by the daughter of the 82-year-old widow, who was married to an art collector and dealer. Of course.
Shady.
Yeah. The widow's daughter was among those arrested on Wednesday, according to local media. Yeah. The police say the paintings were not taken in a heist, but rather through a con involving a self-proclaimed soothsayer. In January of 2020, the fortune teller approached the widow in Copacabana, Rio de Janeiro, and informed her that her daughter was sick and would soon die, police said. It was claimed that the widow, who holds mystical beliefs, was compelled to transfer a total of $1 million to the con artist over a course of 2 weeks for supposed spiritual treatment. Yeah. Yeah.
How many times do we hear about that?
I know.
Yep. Too many.
Yeah.
Too many.
You got to check that email, see if it's from Nigeria. You know, it's a red flag there. All right. Her daughter allegedly then fired staff off of their home. That fired staff off of their home.
Fired staff. You got to put the emphasis on the right syllable. Emphasis. There we go.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Her daughter allegedly fired staff at their home and allowed her accomplices to enter and take the pieces of art. After the work was stolen, the group then threatened the widow, and she transferred more money, police say. Of the 16 pieces, 3 were found at an art gallery in São Paulo, where the owner said he had bought them directly from the woman's daughter. He told police he had also sold 2 others to a museum in Latin America called the Art in Buenos Aires Museum. It's not what it's called. It was the Museum of Latin American Art in Buenos Aires.
Buenos Dias. The museum in Buenos Dias.
Do it again, and you do it just as wrong the second time.
Yeah, that's it. Back it up. And just you're that guy that backs up and hits the curb, and then backs up and hits the curb. But you're gonna just keep going. Oh, there you go. That's a little easier, right out of the old bottle. All right, I know it's hard to believe, children, but we are here. We are at the final
Say it isn't
story.
so.
Oh, wow.
I would be lying, and I'm not that kind of guy.
We're at 73, Paranormal 73 anyway.
Yeah, well, let's hit the Paranormal 90. We're good at it.
All right.
Our next story, guys, this takes us back into the Wayback Machine to 1835. It's the Great Moon Hoax, and I was unfamiliar with this story. The story takes us all the way back to 1835. The Great Moon Hoax emerged from a series of newspaper articles describing newly discovered. I'll just have that sip right now.
Nearly discovered the Earth.
Yeah, I was going to go out with a bang, and I'm going out with a whimper. The Great Moon Hoax emerged from a series of newspaper articles describing newly discovered life on the moon, including winged human-like creatures and never before seen species of flora and fauna. Readers were astounded by the reports in the New York Sun, which were reprinted in many newspapers in the United States and Europe. The articles, purportedly written by Dr. Andrew Grant, detailed the discoveries of Sir John Herschel, a widely known astronomer who in real life had speculated of the possibility of life on the moon. The Sun ran 6 articles on the discoveries over the course of a week beginning on August 25th of 1935. The stories, including amazing descriptions of life on the moon, is viewed through an enormous telescope with hydro-oxygen That's what they claim he used. Hydro-oxygen lenses built by Herschel at an observatory on the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. Grant wrote about golden temples and a ruby colosseum built by Batmen, which were believed to be the humanoids populating the moon. Now, he also reported how some of their amusements would but ill comport with our terrestrial notions of decorum. Apparently, these winged humans like to share intimate moments in public, presumably of a bit of a sexual nature, friends. So that's what they were talking about in fancy words. Grant went on to describe other animals seen through the telescope. They included a large bipedal beaver.
I put myself on mute. Nope.
Thank you. That
Not falling
carried
for that
its
one.
young. That carried its young in its arms, as well as herds of beasts similar to bison, goats of bluish lead color, and a strange amphibious creature of a spherical form. Now, readers were captivated by the accounts published under the heading Great Astronomical Discoveries Lately Made by Sir John Herschel. New Yorkers reportedly spoke of nothing but this lunar revelations for days. Other newspapers were quick to jump on the story, reprinting the articles soon after they ran in the Sun. Publications as far west as Cincinnati and London and Paris carried the series as well. Asia Green, editor of the New York Transcript, recalls in 1837 how everyone seemed caught up in these stories. The credulity was general. All New York rang with the wonderful discoveries of Sir John Herschel. There were indeed a few skeptics, but to venture to express a doubt of the genuineness of the great lunar discoveries was considered almost as heinous a sin as to question the truth of revelation. At first, people generally believed the reports in sober truth. If this account is true, it is most enormously wonderful, according to former New York Mayor Philip Hone, who wrote in his diary. Soon, though, as more fantastical accounts were released, some began to have their suspicions, gentlemen. One of the first publications to voice its doubt was the Journal of Commerce, a biweekly magazine in New York that primarily covered global trade news. When its editor wrote, "There is no doubt but the article was manufactured in this country and that it belongs to the same school as Robinson Crusoe and Gulliver's Travels." My goodness. Slowly, the truth began to emerge, and on August 31st, James Gordon Bennett Sr., owner of the New York Herald, printed an article titled "The Astronomical Hoax Explained." He presented evidence debunking the Sun's stories, pointing out that the Edinburgh Journal of Science, the supposed source of these series, had ceased publication all the way back in 1833. And there was no Dr. Andrew Grant, nor did the fabulous telescope exist. Herschel, who was real, did build the telescope at his observatory in South Africa, but it could only see the stars, not life on other planets. Bennett also identified the author of the unsigned articles, Richard Adams Locke, a New York Sun reporter. For its part, the public seemed amused by the revelation, taking it as nothing more than a good-natured joke. And at the time, the profession of journalism was not well established, and most people understood that newspapers were not always purveyors of very accurate information. So it's good to see things have changed in all these years, huh, guys? They've gotten a little bit more accurate with their reporting.
Oh, yeah.
One of those who did object, though, was Edgar Allan Poe, the author of many other worldly stories of his own. He argued that the Sun's series ripped off one of his stories, published a few months earlier in The Unparalleled Adventure of One Hans Pfaall, which Poe also claimed was a true story. The hero visits the moon in a hot air balloon. The hoax was circulated to an immense extent and was translated into various languages, was even made the subject of a quizzical discussion in astronomical societies, and was, upon the whole, decidedly the greatest hit in the way of sensation, of merely popular sensation, ever made by any similar fiction, either in America or in Europe. That's what Poe wrote about it later. 3 years later, Locke tried to pull off another hoax in the New Era, a New York newspaper. He wrote that he had discovered a long-lost letter of Scottish explorer Mungo Park, who had disappeared in West Africa in 1805. But nobody was buying his story this time, though, guys. Locke eventually did give up journalism and worked for the Customs Service in New York. When he died in 1871, the New York Sun reported in his obituary, "Mr. Locke was the author of the moon hoax, the most successful scientific joke ever published. The story was told with a minuteness of detail and dexterous use of technical phrases that not only imposed upon the ordinary reader, but deceived and puzzled men of science to an astonishing degree. Yeah, the minuteness, I think, is what I meant to say, not minuteness. But I made it all
That
the way
was
through.
good. That was
That's
good.
right.
I'm impressed.
Minuteness.
I
See
actually
it?
like
There you
that one. That was a good
It's
one.
a good story. I love the imagery of the guy with the giant telescope looking
Okay,
down
we
at
got
it,
it.
and all the strange little Batmen that were
Yeah.
building stuff and fornicating on the moon for people to see.
Uh-huh.
It's
That's
going
a
to happen.
scientific word.
Wow.
Fornication? It is. It
Yeah,
is.
bothans use that a lot.
Bothans.
Wow. You guys are
Yeah.
so special. Well,
Full
that's it for
circle.
this week. Thanks a lot for being here. We'll be back Monday with a brand new edition of the Paranormal 60 and next Friday with the Paranormal 60 news. I am your lead anchor, Dave Schrader, along with me, the paranormal detective, Greg Lawson, the Colonel himself, Martin Valles, and Chachi, Eric Folsom, and we'll be live next week at Michigan Paracon hanging out. Come on over, get your pictures with the crew, say hi. They'll sign autographs, they'll kiss babies, they'll shake hands. That's just the way we roll right here on the best in paranormal programming. This is the Paranormal 60. The Paranormal 60 News is a Words is Hard production and read in a hypnagogic state.